Hello, this is Praveen. Welcome to .netgurukul.com for the ASP.NET Core training. Today we are in Module 1, Introduction to ASP.NET Core, Session 5. So, Session 5 we'll try to know what is routing, controllers. In the controllers, we have something called as action methods. And we use this interface, IActionResult. So, we need to know that in detail. Okay. So, here are the agenda items. Like in routing, you will have something called as conventional routing and attribute routing, and you have to know that in detail. Okay, so and after that, like, I will let you know on the IActionResult interface. Okay, and on different return types it can return. So let's get started. Routing in ASP.NET Core. Routing is a process of matching your input incoming HTTP request to appropriate controller and the action method. So nothing but with your input HTTP request, like we are trying to navigate to the controller class with the relevant action method. Okay, so it tells that ASP.NET Core should handle which request. Okay, nothing but it is like handling the request. Okay, into the conventional routing. So conventional routing happens at the program.cs. Okay, with the program.cs class file, we specify which controller and what's the action method it has to fire. Okay, so this is the specification configuration that has to be done with your conventional routing in the program.cs class file. So attribute routing is something like you specify the routing at the controller class and the action method. See here in the controller class, I have a route with the products. Okay, and with the HTTP gets, I have this action method on this action method, right? So let's connect to my tab and let me explain you that in detail. Okay, let me connect to my tab. Okay, yeah, it's got connected. So first we'll try to know what is routing. Okay, so when a HTTP request comes over to your application, okay, HTTP request, it has to go through the program.cs class file. So here is a sequence of navigation through this HTTP request. Okay, so with the program.cs class file, it has to navigate to the relevant controller. Okay, so I just write it again, controller. So from the controller, it goes to the relevant action method. Okay, so here we need to specify if the routing has been specified in the program.cs class file. So I call this as the conventional routing. Okay, it will specify with which controller class and which particular action method it has to fight. Okay, that's which I configure on the program.cs class file. I call this as the conventional routing. So at the if I wanted to declare the route names on the controller class and the particular action method, I decorate the class with the controller name. Okay, with the router name. So that I call that as the attribute routing. Okay, decorate the controller class and action method with route name. So when I decorate the particular controller class and the action method with router route name, so I call this as the attribute routing. Okay, so these are the two things that we need to know in your routing. Okay, so with this controller, like in the controller, you have to know something important with the controller. So controller has the MVC style result set. So it has the MVC style result set, and it has the also have the API style result set. So you need to understand like a bit in detail. Like once you go to the demo, you'll understand much in detail. For now, you understand like the controller will have the MVC style result set and the API style result set. Okay, so nothing but you can use this controller class and the action method as a API, like in an endpoint. So it can navigate to the endpoint and it can be used by the other application also. In our case, we'll use a console application and we will retrieve the JSON object from this controller action method. Okay. So once you go to the demo, you'll get to understand much in detail. So in order to make this controller MVC style and API style result set, like you have something called as IActionResult interface. So this is an interface which makes the controller MVC style and API style result set. So how it is possible? Like it has the Derived type something like this. See here, I have this particular view result, JSON result. Okay, I have something called as file file content, file result. Sorry, file result. Okay, I have content. I have okay. So this view result is navigating to another view. It is navigating to another view. Okay, it is navigating to a view. See, this JSON result is giving a JSON data. Like in this is it is the web. This is nothing but an API style, and this is nothing but a MVC style. Okay, so it can navigate to another view, and it can read the JSON, it can read the file content, it can download a file content. Okay, it can display this content, and it can have the okay result. Okay, so once I go to the demo, you'll get to know and understanding in detail, but you understand the 2 points over here. So one thing is like the how does the input request is processed in your MVC. Okay, in your MVC core. So when an HTTP request comes to the application, like first it goes to the program.cs class file, and the configuration is nothing but your conventional routing. So you decorate the particular controller class with the route names. So I call that as the attribute routing. Okay, in this controller you will have the both MVC style and API style result set. So this is the very important thing that you need to understand. So I will go to the demo, and you'll get to know in much in detail. Okay, let me connect to my Visual Studio. So I'm just opening the Visual Studio here. So here is my session 5, routing and IAction results. So here is my session 5 in module 1. Okay, so this is the same folder structure like with our previous demo. Okay, so without knowing the folder structure, please don't do the demo 5. Please get to the session 4. Okay, so you have something called as controller, same like in session 4, controller model services view. Okay, so similarly what I have done is like the same controller model view, and the services the same services. Okay, I'm just displaying that in the controller. See here, I'm if you can see that I'm just taking that get products. So have these services. Okay, I will walk you through this on a high level, even though we have done this in the previous session. Just please look into this thing, get products. See here, I am just, instead of going to the database and reading the database, I have the in-memory object list of products. Okay, I have this model products over here. So you have to be very familiar with the folder structure. If you don't understand the folder structure, please go and watch module session 4. Okay. So here, if you can see, like here is a model, like I have this, but here is a model, like in the products controller, and I have the services, and I have these particular iProduct services, which has the grid products method, right? So in this particular grid products methods, like I have implemented with a simple list of products. Okay, I'm just giving some data, and here, if you can see, in the controller, like in the controller, I just take that particular grid products and just returning that to the products view. Okay, so let's go into the views and see the products. So index.cs html. So I'm just iterating that values in the tabular in the grid. Okay, so for each of the model, I'm displaying this. Okay, just set this startup project and run. Okay, so for you need to understand each of the action methods in detail. Okay, so first get to this level of understanding of the folder structure with respect to your previous session. Okay, so just for you to understand the folder structure, see here, I'm displaying the products dashboard. Okay, product ID, name, price. So this is already that you have already came with your previous session, right? So now that we'll understand what is conventional routing and what is attribute routing. Okay, I'm just closing out. So when the input request comes over here, okay, first it goes to the program.cs class file. So let's open this program.cs. So this is what I'm talking about. So this is the conventional routing. So this is the conventional routing. You generally specify the controller name and the action method, and you have the optional parameter also. So if I remove this optional parameter, it doesn't make any difference. So it goes directly to the products controller and the index method, action method. So it goes to the products controller. Okay, and it has this index method. Okay, so just I put a breakpoint over here. Okay, So this is the optional parameter. Okay. If I remove also doesn't make any difference. Okay, just run this. So it's taking some time. Usually I have many projects in one of the solution file. I just wanted to make sure everything in all the sessions in one solution file to make sure you understand everything at a point of time. Okay. So first it comes and hits this program.cs class file. See, I didn't put a breakpoint over here, but still, yeah. First it comes over here. Okay. Next it comes over into the products controller to the index. Okay. So it come and it's giving certain, it is rendering certain like models data, right? So whatever we have right in the index.html. So here is the basic thing, like I have removed that optional parameter. It's still there. It's running that method. So keep that parameter, optional parameter is still the same thing, and just specify this particular something like integer I. I'm just giving some integer. So even if you don't give or give it, and it is going to have this the action method to be executed. So now that you have that particular optional parameter, I'm capturing that particular optional parameter in this index. So that nothing but it will find this action method. So when I run this, see here it came and here hitting with the default value with 0. So it is capturing, it is going to the controller action method, and it's just having this particular option parameter also. So if you specify this parameter also, it runs the same method. Okay. So let me revert back this. Okay. So this is the basic thing, like you need to know about the conventional routing. So let's understand what is attribute routing. Okay. So in this particular attribute routing, I declare this class with a route name. Okay, specify something like route products. Okay, and I specify this as the HTTP GET. Okay, okay. Let's say index. Let's say index page index method. Let's say action method. Something like I'm just giving something like, better we give a meaningful something like all. Okay, something like all. So what happens, like in this particular case, I have this particular conventional routing already imposed on the controller, right? So, but when I specify this attribute routing, so attribute routing comes into picture when both are imposed, both the routings are imposed on the controller. So obviously it will go for the attribute routing. So see, if I run this, like it doesn't able to load, but if I navigate to the controller and all the products and all, it will be loading. So if you see, so this conventional routing is not acting accord, because the both conventional routing and this attribute routing is on place, right? When both are placed, then it gives priority to the attribute routing. So what it goes, and if I type here over here products, excuse me. So I said all. So it comes and hit this action method. See, so your attribute routing is coming into picture when you don't have this, when you have both this conventional routing and attribute routing. So attribute routing will takes place in first. Okay, in a way you can say that it is overriding this conventional routing. Okay, so that's the main thing that you have to know about the conventional routing and the attribute routing. So now let's understand in the IActionResult. See, in this IActionResult, you have some interface, right? So here you have an interface. So this is the ASP.NET Core MVC.IActionResult. So you need to understand. So in the controller side, like you need to understand this particular IActionResult, which is one of the very important interface like you have to be use. Okay. So let me open that slide over here. See, I told you that controller will have this integration, a web API integration into the controller. Okay, no separate project needed. So this is where sounds very interesting, right? So common return types in the web MVC and web API action methods. Okay, provide standard result types. So this is the standard result types which is applicable to the MVC type. Okay, view result is a standard result type which can be applicable on the MVC type, which will render a view. Okay, so JSON style is like in the JSON data. Okay, see, it will used like in budget calls or API return structure. Okay, once you use this particular JSON result, that API or the action method can, that particular URL route can be used in other applications like in your console applications or Windows applications, and consume that API and read that particular JSON data. So in this demo, you will come to know in that in detail. Okay, so in the result file, so if I wanted to download external files like in PDL, Excel, or TXT files, okay, so this particular file result will be the standard result type. Okay, the content result, so nothing but in the plain HTML or in the plain text I wanted to return, then it will have this content result and partial views and okay, like in this is the also okay and not found is like in the MVC API style. So if you can remember this kind of stuff, like in the IActionResult classes, here are the different return types. And please remember that it is like in the both MVC style and API style supported. So once I go to the demo, you'll get to know and understanding in much detail. So let me go back to the Visual Studio and implement all this stuff. So here in this thing, like you have this particular, where I run this again. Okay. So I will add certain action method to this. I will just remove all the breakpoints. Okay. So I have this products details on this dashboard, like products dashboard. So in actions, like I will add details link over here. So maybe I will add a product catalog. When I click on the product catalog, when I can download the products catalog. So nothing but this particular, all these return result types, we will do the demo. Okay, like it will read that particular JSON data, like in this particular, all this particular data will try to read the JSON data. Okay, and this content result. Okay, and this file result, all this stuff, like we'll add certain action methods. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, I will go to my index.cs HTML. So I'm closing all this stuff. So the request comes over here and it's loading this particular index.cs HTML, right? So I'll add the action method here. Okay, let's do that. Okay, I'm adding HTML action link. Okay, so I'm just adding certain products details. Okay, so it will navigate to the details action method. Okay, similarly for get JSON, so products catalog, and download the products catalog. Okay, download the file. So I added some action methods. Okay. Okay. I'll just save this. Okay. So I have this particular HTML action link. Okay. So I just added some text over here, like in this, and go to the products controller and hit this particular details action method. So if you can see that particular action method, so it has this particular link text and the action method. Okay, so the action method is like in the details action method. So in the get products and in the catalog and download, so we'll implement this particular action methods in your controller. Okay, just I'm opening the controller over here. So I'm just implementing this IActionResult for the details. Like when I click on this particular products detail, I just wanted to show that in the another view, like in the details view. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, I'm just writing this uh, details action method. Okay, so return to this view. Okay, I'll save this. Okay, so when you click on this action method, like in the index method, like it is going to go to the particular controller and this particular details action method, this details action method will be executed. Okay, and it will read this all the products details of this selected, clicked on this selected product ID. Okay, and I'm going to I'm just going to display into the details view. Okay, so go and decorate your details view. Okay, implement your details view. Okay. Okay, I just added this HTML tags. Okay, I'm displaying the selected data. Okay, like in the product ID, product name. Okay, I'm displaying this in the details view. Okay, and I'm just wanted to provide the link back to the index. Okay, so when you click on this particular action method, it will go to the index again. It comes over here and it loads this page. Okay, I hope you understand like what you have done. Okay, so just save all this stuff. Okay, So I'm just going to build this. Okay. So when it comes to this program.cs class file, it is going to the products controller, and first it'll give me all this products data in the index.html. Okay. In the index.html, we have this all the actions, right? In the details, get products, so show message, download, redirect. Okay. So showing the product catalog. So I just implemented this particular only the details. I have to go to the I have to get to implement all this action method, get controller, okay, show method, download file, redirect. Okay, we will do that later, but now that you understand, like, I have this action method that need to be extract this selected product ID, and that product IDs will be rendered in the details page. Okay, and I just details page, I'm just displaying all this ID, name, and the price, and I'm just going back to this index action method. Okay, so just let's run this. See here, if you can see that I can have this complete all these action methods, okay, onto this grid. So when I click on the products details, it goes to the details view, right? So see here the products details, like in here is the details view, and in the you can see the product ID, laptop, and the price, and you can go to the back to the list. Okay, similarly for the product two, okay, see the product ID to smartphone, okay, price, okay, back to the list. So just get JSON, like in all these action methods, I need to implement this. Let's go and implement all this stuff. Okay. So I wanted to have this all this implemented. So when I select this, like I wanted to display the JSON data. So when I view the catalog, I wanted to view some catalog information of this product. I wanted to download, and not I wanted to redirect. Nothing but what I have done is, like, I just implemented all this stuff. Okay. So when this get JSON is like in this getting the data in the JSON okay, JSON format. So view products details is like we have implemented the view result. Okay, I have redirected to another razor view, like in the details view, right? So in the products catalog, I will just use this uh, content result. Okay, so in the file result, like I will download this catalog. So let's implement this. Okay, so let me go to the controller. Okay, so I will implement all these uh, methods, like in the action methods, whatever we specified in the index.css. So get products, okay, show method. Okay, I will implement that, those all the stuff. Okay, and we will get products. Okay, so I'm just using the products. Okay, so this time I'm just returning the JSON, like in the JSON of the product. Okay, selected product. So to home. So I'm just using this redirect show message. This is the sample product catalog. Okay. Similarly, download file. And just I'm taking some sample catalog. So plain text. Okay. Just saving this and just build this one. See, check everything is implemented. Like in the details you already implemented, get products. Okay. So get products is already there. Okay. Get product details. Okay. In the show, I just wanted to show the products catalog in some message. Okay, I just give the let's show message method. Okay, so download file. Okay, I just wanted to redirect to the same, like in this action method and the controller name. So it will go and hit this action method and controller name. Okay, again just I'm loading the page again, nothing but back to home. So let me save this and run this. Okay. So you need to be very perfect with the IActionResult interface. Okay, what are its derived types and all the stuff. Like if it is like a derived types, I can return any of the derived types to the interface, right? So that's what I have done. Like in all the action method. See here, it is in the products details. Like I'm just returning the view. So when I click and it is loading another view. See back to this. And get JSON, like it is returning some JSON, like JSON of products. Okay, so it will give the JSON data. So this is nothing but just JSON. It is like the API style. Okay, the routing is like API style. You got this result in the API style. Okay, So I can consume this particular JSON data from the other application also. I can just consume this data from the console application. We'll do that demo also. Okay. So you have the view catalog. So I'm showing that catalog. This is a sample catalog. So I wanted to download this. So I have download this catalog over here. So I'm just telling this the sample catalog. So redirect to home, just redirect to the same page. Look, okay, I just click this. This is the same page that is redirecting. So if you can see, if I put a breakpoint on this iAction, it come when I click on this link, it will hit this index. It will find this particular index and index action method, right? So I just click here. So index action method is getting fired. It is getting the same page is being loaded. So that's what we have written in this redirect home. Okay, so redirect. So if you have a different page, like in different page, you can redirect to different page as well. Okay, so this is the basic in understanding your all the action methods. Okay, I action result is the main interface that you have to know. So consider like I have this, but all the products data, I wanted to get the JSON, like in some, just to make you understand the MVC style. Okay, so what I will do is like I will access this endpoint URL, like in this particular routing URL in other application, in the console application. Like I have this console application. Let me open this console application. I thought I opened it already. So I'll consume that products data from the other console application. Okay. So this is, I have this URL over here. So I'll use the HTTP client. Okay. I'll use this HTTP client and I will consume the JSON data. Okay. Let me run this. Okay. I hope you are understanding in this in very clearly. Okay. So it is like MVC style and it is also API style. Okay, your controller class. So class is a combination of both MVC style and API style. Okay, so everything is under iAction result interface. Okay, see here I got this particular route is giving this JSON data. So what I do within the index, instead of navigating to another view to the products data, I'm just returning the JSON data. Okay, so if I open this thing and in the console application, I will implement this. Okay, 1 second. Something wrong over here. Yeah. Since it is running, just let me stop this one and implement this. Uh, Consume that in like in URL. Okay, so we'll do that. Let's do that using HTTP client. Okay. Yeah. But I'm just iterating to all of this result. Okay, and I will display in the console. Yeah, all the models data. Just go with the error exception. Okay. Control Shift AD. So this is the simple application like where I consume this API URL. Okay, when I run this, I'll just use this API URL and paste it on in my console application. Okay. Okay, I'll just take it out. So here is my JSON data. Okay, I'm opening my console application. It is nowhere concerned with my project, right? So this is an independent console application. Like in your console application, I just have this products class. So I'm using this HTTP client and I'm using this application URL. Okay, I just using that application URL and I will run this and I'll show that in the console application. Okay, let me run this. See, the data is fetched from the API. So laptop, smartphone, and tablet. See here, whatever the output we have, the laptop, okay, smartphone, and this tablet. So if you wanted similarly, like in the price and all, whichever the data you wanted to fetch, I can fetch that. Okay, so simple, understand this is the MVC style and in the API style also. Okay, so we doesn't need to in the controller ASP.NET Core MVC, we doesn't need to have a separate project for web APIs. Okay, so that particular web APIs can be maintained in a single unit. Okay, that's what it's a unified model. So like in the previous whatever we are talking about, ASP.NET Core is a unified model of developing your ASP.NET MVC, okay, your ASP.NET Razor and ASP.NET Web APIs. Okay, so all this stuff is coming in a single unit for framework, right? So and that particular is possible through this particular IActionResult interface. Okay, IActionResult interface, which is there coming from the ASP.NET Core MVC. Okay, so that's the session for today. Okay, so let me recap you for everything like in what we have done today. So we have seen what is routing. Okay, in the routing, like how do I navigate to action method from my controller. Okay, so you have this conventional routing that to be specified in your program.cs class file, and the attribute routing that has to be decorated over your controller class and the action method. Okay, and these particular IActionResult interfaces, like in both return types, like IActionResults and return types, we have seen, right? So you have gone through the MVC style and API style. So that's it for the session for today. Okay, so I hope you understand. If you have any questions, you can log me. So next session we will go dive into the ASP.NET Core Razor Pages fundamentals. Okay, so now that what we have done is like ASP.NET Core MVC fundamentals. So what we have done, so MVC Core fundamentals. Now that we need to jump into the ASP.NET Core Pages fundamentals. So let's catch up in the next session. Okay, thank you. Thanks for watching.